If you work in FP&A, you have probably heard the terms annual operating plan and budget used all the time, sometimes even in the same sentence. But here is the thing, most people use them interchangeably, and that's a mistake. They may sound similar, but they serve very different purposes. And if you can't clearly explain that in an interview, you might come across as someone who doesn't fully get the strategic side of finance. In this video, I am going to break down the key differences between the annual operating plan and the budget with simple and real world examples. So you can answer this question confidently and sounds like someone who truly understands how planning works at the leadership level. By the way, I was just looking at my YouTube analytics and 80% of you who watch this channel regularly haven't subscribed yet. If you have ever found value in these videos, could you do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button? It helps the channel more than you know. The bigger this community gets, the bigger guests and resources I can bring to you. Now, interviewers might not always ask this as what is the difference between AOP and the budget. It often comes in different forms. Some examples are, can you explain how AOP and budget differ in your organization? Do you see the AOP as a part of the budgeting process or something broader? What is the relationship between strategic planning and budgeting? How would you explain annual operating plan versus a budget to a non-finance stakeholder? It doesn't matter however they frame the question. What they really want to know is, do you understand how big picture business planning connects with the detailed financial targets? Let's break that down in this video. On a quick side note, if you are serious about FP&A, you need real world practical FP&A skills. 8 out of 10 CFOs says that it's tough to find good FP&A talent. And that's exactly why we created the CGFPA Certified Global FP&A Professional Program. It is a 6-month in-depth FP&A certification designed to help you become more confident in your FP&A role. If that sounds like something you need, the links are in the description. Do check it out. Now, before we get into the answer, let's try to understand why is this an important question. Because it's not just about definitions, it's about whether you understand the different layers of business planning. AOP or the annual operating plan is about translating strategy into action. It sets direction, priorities, and key initiatives for the year. The budget, on the other hand, is a financial commitment. The line by line numbers that hold the teams accountable. The interviewers want to see that do you get the difference? One is about where we are going and how we'll get there, and the other is about what we are going to spend and achieve. Explain that clearly, and you would show that you are not just a spreadsheet person, but you understand how finance drives strategy. Here are the 5 key differences between the annual operating plan and the budget. The annual operating plan sets the direction, aligning strategy, defining the big goals, and laying out the business priorities for the year. On the other hand, the budget is about financial control, setting specific targets and constraints. Second, the EOP is broader. It covers initiatives, headcount plans, market expansions, and key projects. However, the budget zooms in on specific financial line items like revenue targets, expenses, and profitability. Although both are annual exercises, but the AOP often links to a multi-year goal. However, the budget is focused on that financial year's execution only. In most companies, AOP is a guide that can adapt as the year progresses. On the other hand, the budget, once approved, becomes a benchmark, sometimes often rigid and used for performance management. Finally, the AOP focuses on outputs like initiatives, new product launches, marketing campaigns, and hiring plans, while the budget translates all of that into numbers like revenue projections, expenses, and profit margins. The key here is to understand that how both work together. Think of annual operating plan as the blueprint which defines where the business wants to go, the big bets it's making, and the resources that are needed. The budget is the financial engine that powers that blueprint, translating those plans into numbers, funding decisions, and targets. In well-run companies, the AOP and the budgets are built side by side. The businesses first align on strategy and initiatives in the annual operating plan, and then the finance team translates that into detailed budget. If you can explain this relationship clearly, you're showing that you understand both strategy and execution, and that's what makes you stand out. Now that we've spoken about the differences, here is something interviewers will love if you can point it out. What's common between AOP and the budget? Both are about planning for the future and ensuring that business has clear direction and financial discipline. They both require alignment with leadership and cross-functional teams. It's not something that finance does in isolation. and most importantly, both are used to measure performance, whether it's hitting strategic goals from AOP or financial targets set in the budget. So, in an interview, if you not only explain the differences but also highlight these common threads, you will show that you have a complete understanding of how finance supports the business planning end to end. I'm curious, in your company, do you treat annual operating plan and budget as separate exercises, or do they happen together in one integrated process? Drop your answers in the comments. I would love to know how your finance team approaches it. If you would like to dive deeper into how FP&A teams handle planning, budgeting, and forecasting in the real world, check out the detailed webinar. And don't forget to grab your free FP&A interview prep course. The links are in the description below. And if this video has helped you, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and colleagues who are preparing for FP&A interviews. What interview questions should I cover in the next video? Drop your suggestions in the comments and I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.